What's going on YouTube? What's going on everybody? GZTV. I know I'm a little late. I usually don't start my content this late. But we are here with the 2022 movie Fresh. This movie came out a little over a year ago, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it. And I didn't want to really stay up till 2 in the morning and watch it, Dave. I'm kind of on an interesting sleep schedule because of work and stuff. So I don't usually stay up that late anymore, which is why you don't really get streams that as much. But I watched this from like 9 to like 11 o'clock with my dad last night, and then I went to bed pretty much. Well, I streamed for an hour, you guys know that, and then I went to bed. But we're going to talk about the plot, the critical reception of this, then we're going to get into Dexter. I know there's guys out there working on like some doors on my house, so if it's a little loud, I apologize. I just want to get these videos out of the way real quick so I can actually like get my other TV shows watched for the day, because basketball starts in less than 7 hours and I kind of want to just relax for a little bit. So this movie is about Noah, a woman from Portland who's increasingly disillusioned with online dating and the rude men she interacts with. And there's kind of like a lot of social commentary that comes with this movie. And I like movies like this that kind of play on the modern, have like a modern take on dating. And it's really cool. So one day at the supermarket, a man named Steve flirts with her and they exchange numbers. Normal. You know, obviously you kind of know something's up because you know this is like a horror movie going into it. On their first date, the two quickly hit it off and have sex. Like this, instantly feels like, okay, these guys are going to be together for good. And interestingly enough, this movie has a really long intro. The intro is literally like 30 to 31 minutes long, and then we actually get into what this movie is supposed to be about. Like it's such a crazy setup. There's an hour 25 to like really get the story like out there. It's an interesting strat, and it kind of paid off, honestly. After several dates, Steve invites Noah for a weekend break away alone with him. Like they're starting to get really, really comfortable with each other. Against the advice of her best friend Molly, Noah agrees to the trip because she feels like there's a lot of red flags involved. You know, this guy doesn't have social media, and in today's era, that is and in today's age, I guess you could say, that is very weird to not have social media. Planning to travel early the following day, Noah spends the evening at Steve's luxury home. Steve drugs Noah's cocktail and she falls unconscious, and this is where the madness really begins, and this is like where the intro ends, and we get full force into the story and what this movie is supposed to be about. So Noah wakes up in captivity, chained to the ground. It's set up to be like every other like sus man turns out to be a bad person movie. Steve explains that he is a butcher of human meat, which he both consumes himself and sells to wealthy clients, and that's why, you know, he has this nice house and he's like this very high-class, wealthy man. They prefer the meat of young women, so he regularly lures and abducts women on dates. He says that he will keep Noah alive as long as possible in order to keep her meat fresh, as he intends to surgically remove different pieces of her body over time. And he kind of brings up the fact that if she's like a good girl and she acts nice towards him, he might not even go full-fledged into it. Steve allows Noah to take a shower, but she tries to escape, and that is her first mistake. Steve captures her and harvests her buttocks as punishment, literally like takes her ass off, which is kind of, that's probably, this guy doesn't want to kill anyone necessarily until he absolutely has to. So the butt, the breast, legs, and it's kind of fucked up to talk about now that I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of a psychopath. I've kind of become like desensitized to weird shit like this. Like I definitely did squirm at a couple of things in this movie. Them talking about eating humans and like it being a delicacy was really weird. We'll get to some of that stuff, I guess. Noah speaks to a woman named Penny, who is being held captive in an adjacent room, and Penny tells her that a woman who's singing incoherently is another victim named Melissa, who has gone insane. Obviously, she's been held here long enough, and she cannot fucking take it anymore. I don't think anyone can, and no one never really gets to that point. Meanwhile, Molly becomes concerned about Noah's disappearance and begins investigating with her friend Paul, a bartender who served Noah and Steve drinks on their first date. So she wants to know like his personal information because she knows that that's the bar that like Noah and all them like to go to. Like that's the spot she would have went on this date with. After searching online, Molly discovers Steve is actually named Brendan and is married to a woman named Anne with whom he has children. So now we learn that this guy's like living a double life. And some of the revelations that come with this film are kind of crazy, honestly. And I mean, if you guys want a forefront here, and by the way, this is a spoiler review, we're going to be revealing everything, all the plot twists, all the twists and turns in this twisted film. Go watch the movie before you watch any of my movie reviews, like, honestly. So Molly is very confrontational about this. She wants to find her Noah as soon as possible. So Molly visits Anne and informs her of Brendan's apparent affair. Like, your husband's with another woman, and I'm just trying to tell you that right now. And I don't know where they're at. Brendan arrives, but denies any knowledge of Noah when questioned by Molly. Just acts like it didn't happen. I mean, that's obviously typical. As she leaves, Molly calls Noah's phone, which begins ringing in Brendan's pocket, and she pretty much proves to Anne that there's an affair. Anne, revealed to be Brendan's accomplice, knocks Molly unconscious. So this is kind of an insane moment because you're like, oh, well, it's going to be kind of awkward when the wife figures this out through this phone call. And it happens, and more things just keep on piling on top of each other. This movie just does not stop. I mean, it's a pretty slow movie for the most part. But yeah. It is revealed that Anne has a prosthetic leg and was one of Brendan's victims before he fell for her. So, like I said, things are just piling on top of each other.